welcome back to Cruising as Crew. My name is Lucy and today we are going to go through some assumptions about ship life, working on a ship, living on a cruise ship. And yeah, some of them are really funny, some of them are interesting, so thank you for submitting these on my Instagram page, Cruising as Crew. So the first assumption, everyone sleeps with everyone. Everyone seems to think that working on a cruise ship is just some like massive orgy and you're definitely going to get an STD. Like, honestly, these are the assumptions that I have had through, and also that people have had when they first joined and we've got talking. So I am here to clear it up. Yes, there is a few people who work on cruise ships that like to hop from bedroom to bedroom. But that is personal preference. You're going to get that on land and you're going to find that on a ship as well. The odd person who is fairly promiscuous. However, generally people are just here to work, and if they find someone to sleep with on a regular basis, or maybe that develops into a relationship and they sleep, you know, then that's a bonus. That's great. So you don't need to worry about coming on here and it just being sex for days, because that's really not how it is. Like, if you're looking for that, you can definitely find that if you go to Crew Bar and get talking to people, but otherwise, like, people are just here to do their job and that's it. However, I have made many videos about this where I have gone a lot more in depth about, you know, the dark side of ship life, or as in like relationships and what to watch out for, and so I'll link some of those videos down below if you do want to know more about that. But generally, no, it's not going to be a massive orgy when you get on board your cruise ship. You have to be thin. So this is one that I have got quite a lot, and honestly I found it quite surprising, but a lot of people think that you have to be like skinny, thin, slim to be able to work on a cruise ship. You don't, but you have to be healthy. So the only requirement is that you have to pass your medical. So you can be overweight, but if your, you know, cardiovascular system is working fine, if you are healthy and you can stand on your feet for 14 hours a day and you can walk up and down stairs and, you know, just do the basic things, then that's fine. Like, some people are just built differently. Just because someone is fat does not mean that they are unhealthy. Just because someone is slim doesn't mean that they're healthy. So you don't have to be slim to work on a cruise ship, but you do have to be able to pass a medical. But also, you are going to be on your feet a lot, you know. So I mean, if you're morbidly obese, you probably wouldn't pass your medical anyway, but even if you did, I definitely recommend losing a little bit of weight before you come on board, because you're going to find it really difficult to walk around all day, get in the bunk bed, you know. Remember, you're going to be sleeping in a bunk bed. You'll be sharing a cabin with a roommate if it's your first contract on a ship. And there are little things like that that are going to be harder if you are on the heavier side. So, but no, you don't have to be slim. You just have to be healthy. There are no expenses on board, so you are going to save loads of money. This is definitely possible, and even I have made many videos about the fact that, hey, you can save loads of money when you work on a cruise ship, and you can, for sure. But it depends on a few things. Like, the first thing is how disciplined you are. Like, if you're coming on cruise ships to save money, then you probably are going to do just that. But if it's your first contract, a lot of people don't save money during their first contract. And the reason being is, although you don't have bills to pay, you know, you don't have to do a food shop, all you have to spend your money on is things that you enjoy. There are a lot of things to enjoy, you know, like going to Crew Bar, making friends, and the problem is the drinks are like $3 a drink. So it's really easy to get into the habit of like, the round's on me, and before you know it, you're spending like $60 every night, which adds up. So it depends how much you go to Crew Bar, because Crew Bar is a real drain on the resources. Cruise shop also, if you like your snacks. I must admit, I have been going to cruise shop nearly every night, so, and getting snacks. I need to stop. But anyway, how much are you using Wi-Fi? Like, if you're in a long distance relationship, you're probably going to spend a lot more than someone who isn't, because you're going to be buying Wi-Fi packages so that you can contact your loved one back home, and Wi-Fi packages aren't cheap at all. So you can save money. It is probably the easiest environment in the world at the moment to save money, but there are some factors that will make it more difficult. Also, your itinerary, my god. So let's say if you're doing a Caribbean itinerary that just does like east and western, and the ports are repeated, or maybe it's an even more repetitive itinerary, yes, you're going to save money because you're not going to bother getting off. If you're there every other day, it's not like you're not compelled to get off and spend money. However, if you're doing a European itinerary, I did not save any money when I was on the Valiant Lady Virgin Voyages, because we were in Europe. We were in Ibiza every Friday night for an overnight. We were in Italy. Like, there was too much good food to be eating, there was too much shopping to be doing. Like, I didn't save any money. Well, I mean, I did, but I could have saved more. But I didn't, because I was in Europe and Europe's expensive and I wanted to enjoy myself. So sometimes getting a bad itinerary is a blessing, because it means that you're not going to go out and spend loads. So you can save a lot of money, but there are a few factors that will make or break that assumption. Sharing a cabin is awful. So my most popular career guide that I have made is the roommate rules, which can be found on my website, by the way, cruisingascrew.com. But the roommate rules basically goes through the conversations that you need to have with your roommate in order to have a peaceful relationship, and loads of other things. And the reason that's my most popular is the thing that people are most trepidatious about when going to work on a cruise ship is the fact that they're going to be sharing a really small cabin with a stranger who's probably from the other side of the world. So yes, I'm not going to lie to you, sharing a cabin and having a roommate is difficult. Even if you have the best roommate ever, there are going to be difficulties along the way. But if you do end up sharing with someone that you get along with, it can be a really pleasant experience. There was only one roommate that I had that I wasn't too keen on. Like, the only thing that's like annoying, I would say, about having a roommate is just always having to make allowances. But then I'm an overly considerate person, so maybe you won't have that problem. But like, you know, if I was going to put on the TV, I'd make sure that she didn't mind, or if I was going to dry my hair, I'd make, you know. But like I said, I'm overly considerate, so, or I was overly considerate, so maybe that's why it was so annoying. It doesn't have to be awful. It can definitely be a really lovely experience, and you can make friends for life with your roommates. So I don't think you need to be as worried about it as people are, if that makes sense. You have to be able to swim. Loads of people think you have to be able to swim, and I get it. It makes perfect sense. However, if all goes to plan, no one's going to end up in the water, and you are more likely to get into a few car crashes before you end up on a cruise ship that sinks. Oh my god, touch wood. But you know what I mean? So no, you do not have to swim. Depending on what cruise line you go on, you will have to do an SCCW, which requires you to get in the water. Sometimes you'll do it in a pool. If you make the mistake like I did, you'll end up doing it in a quarry in January in England. Do not recommend. But either way, you will have to get into the water and act out, you know, survival techniques. And it's definitely going to be a problem if you're afraid of water. And I do think you should be able to swim a little bit, but it isn't a requirement. There are many people that work on cruise ships who have never swam before. But if you've applied for a job on a cruise ship and you know that you've got like 6 months until everything gets going, because as we've spoke about before, it is a very long process to get on a cruise ship. Hey, you've got 6 months to take swimming lessons. So why not? Why not? It's always good to learn a new skill. You're paid to travel and you don't work. Now, those of you who watch my channel know by now that this is not true. However, there are still some people I see that come on board and treat it like a vacation. I mean, they get fired pretty quickly, or they just get in a lot of trouble. So, but it just, I guess, astounds me that with all the information out there now about working on cruise ships, people still think that it's a holiday when you come on board. And yes, like, a massive perk of the job is you get to go to really, really cool destinations, but you are going to earn your money. Like, you're gonna work hard no matter what department you end up working in. You can get rich working on cruise ships. This is true. You're never going to become a millionaire working on cruise ships, but you can definitely set yourself up for life. If I could go back and do my cruise ship journey again, I would have started at 19. I would have still started at the same age, and I would have worked my way up as quickly as possible so I could have been earning the most money, because I really was just in it for the travel and to enjoy myself. And this isn't that I regret it. I don't regret it. I love where I'm at now. But if I was to, you know, do it differently, yeah, I would work my way up. I would earn as much money as possible, get to the highest rank possible, because especially being from England, it's tax-free money. It's tax-free. And I don't pay any rent, and I don't pay for food, and I don't. So the amount of money that you can save, and then you can, you know, put that towards buying property, which you could either live in or rent out, which could then set you up for life. You can definitely put yourself in a fantastic position if you are driven and you don't waste 8 years like me. It's not that I wasted 8 years, but I could have maybe been like hotel director by now. Like, if I'd have, let's say, gone from the spa, realised I loved cruise ships, and then got a job in guest services, and then from guest services you can kind of work your way up in loads of different, you can go into food and beverage, you can go into hotel, you can be a cruise director, whatever. I mean, I've nearly been doing it for 9 years. So I could have been a cruise director by now. Not that I want to be a cruise director, but cruise directors earn a very nice amount of money. So that's all I'm saying. But then I suppose that's the same with any job, right? Oh, I don't know. You have to be under 30. You do not have to be under 30. The reason that the majority of crew members, actually, you know what? They're not even under 30. No, you don't. There are literally people of all ages. Like the youngest that you can be, I think, is 18 working for the onboard spa. If you work for an American cruise line, you have to be 21. But the onboard spa hire people who are 18. And then there are people all the way up to like late 60s. So you can really work on cruise ships at any age. It is never too late to start. I have met so many people who, you know, had kids when they were in their early 20s, and by the time they're 40, their kids have left and they want to start a new chapter, so they've started cruise ships. And I'm like, hey, that's fantastic. So know that you don't have to be under 30. You can be any age, and if you want to give it a go, give it a go, because it's better to try it and know what it's like than to always wonder what it would have been like to do it. Living on a cruise ship is harder than life on land. On most cruise lines now, you will have a housekeeper. Even if you're sharing a cabin, you will have a housekeeper. So you don't really have to clean your room. You don't have to wash your dishes. You don't have to cook your food. It's easy to meet up with your friends in the bar because there's usually only one crew bar, so that's where people are all going to meet. But then it's harder because if you have a bad day at work, you can't go home to your family and moan about it. You are generally here alone. You are on your own. So this is why it's really important to make friends, because otherwise you don't have anybody. Working long hours can be really difficult. Sharing a cabin can be difficult. But saying that, I genuinely don't think sharing a cabin is any more difficult than having a roommate back home in an apartment. It sounds scarier because instead of sharing a whole apartment with someone, you're sharing a room. but like I said, it sounds scarier than it is, because you're going to be working so much that you're not going to spend really any time in the cabin. So I don't know, maybe that's just because I've been on ships for too long, but I can't imagine that it's any more difficult than sharing an apartment with someone. So yes and no. Harder in some ways, easier in some ways. You will only do 1 to 2 contracts. So this was my favourite one. It wasn't, I guess it's not really an assumption, but this girl basically said, like, I assume that everyone thinks when they start their cruise ship journey they're going to do 1 to 2 contracts. And I was like, oh my god, this is so true. Like, everyone, even myself, I'll probably do 1 or 2 contracts and then I'll come home and start my life on land. And then you get the bug and you can't see the end because it's just unlike any other lifestyle. And I mean, this is what happened. Like, I literally did 2 contracts with the onboard spa. So I did Rhapsody of the Seas, Legend of the Seas. That was 1 contract because I got transferred. And then I did Radiance of the Seas. So that was the 2nd contract. I finished that and I spent like a year at home because I was like, that's it. I'm going to work on land and live a normal life. And I was so bored after, I was so bored after 6 months, but especially after a year and a bit, I was like, ugh. So I applied for Harding Retail and went on P&O, and now I'm probably never going to leave. So yeah, I think a lot of people think they're going to do 1 or 2 contracts, and some people do because it's just not for them, and some people, like myself, become obsessed and end up doing it for like 10, God, I hope it's not 20, but maybe 10 to 20 years. So this is a really funny assumption because it's so true. Everyone just thinks it's going to be 1 or 2. But anyway, those are some assumptions that you had about ship life. I've really enjoyed going through them, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to them. But if you have any video suggestions or you need anything from me, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and I will see you in the next video.